Between 2022 and 2024, some of the most recognizable names in business quietly emptied their office floors, replacing human jobs with algorithms. Tech executives stood on earnings calls and pitched investors a flawless equation. They claimed artificial intelligence would execute the same volume of work at a fraction of the cost without the need for human staff. Klarna's CEO, Sebastian Siemiatkowski, proudly announced his company's new AI assistant had successfully handled over 2 million customer conversations in a single month. His press release claimed the software was doing the exact work of 700 full-time human agents. IBM executed a nearly identical playbook. The company deliberately paused hiring for roughly 7,800 back-office roles, fully expecting automation to absorb the administrative load. Wall Street aggressively bought into the narrative, rewarding these announcements with immediate stock bumps. Because the market incentivized cost-cutting, leadership teams treated AI integration as a finalized solution on paper. But 9 months later, the results tell a very different story. Chegg saw its stock plummet 48% after admitting ChatGPT was eating their core revenue. And the Klarna CEO, who went viral for replacing workers, quietly acknowledged they went too far with automation, needing to rehire humans. This timeline illustrates a pattern organizational psychologists call a capability cliff. The initial layoff announcement happens here at month 0, but the systemic corporate breakdown doesn't materialize right away. It operates on a delayed 18-month views. When CEOs run their financial projections, they measure the massive cost savings recorded on day 1, but those spreadsheet models ignore the structural decay that hollows out their operations by month 18. During the first 6 months, the strategy looks like a triumph. The newly integrated AI systems successfully handle thousands of highly predictable, structured queries, like processing basic forms or answering simple shipping questions. Baseline operations appear smooth. What the metrics miss is the human cost, absorbing the friction. The employees who survived the layoffs are forced into overdrive, frantically managing the complex edge cases and frustrated customers that the AI cannot handle. Their overexertion artificially inflates the company's early productivity numbers. As those inflated metrics roll in, executive leadership cashes in. Labor expenses drop, profit margins widen, and stock prices surge, triggering massive compensation bonuses for the C-suite. Month 6 is an illusion. The apparent success relies entirely on a shrinking pool of exhausted workers, masking the reality that the company's operational foundation is already crumbling. By month 12, the organization starts suffering from the loss of tacit knowledge. This is the undocumented historical context of a company, the specific client preferences and institutional memories that live exclusively in the minds of experienced workers. When senior staff leave, that knowledge vanishes instantly. At IBM, this erosion caused noticeable damage to their consulting revenue. A legacy computer system built in 2009 has deep, specific architectural quirks. An algorithm cannot understand why a system was designed that way 15 years ago, and the junior staff left behind didn't know either. Duolingo suffered a similar rot on the consumer side. When they eliminated a massive portion of their human contractors to rely on AI-generated translations, they alienated a highly vocal fanbase that had bought into the promise of human-crafted education. Users organized a public boycott campaign. App Store reviews dropped off a cliff as former contractors shared stories of their own work being fed into the models that ultimately replaced them. A brand's reliability and public trust require careful maintenance. They are direct products of the human workforce, and when a company strips that away, the consumer perception fractures. As the work environment degrades, internal data from McKinsey reveals a fatal secondary effect. The high-performing employees who survived the initial cuts realize their jobs are inevitably next, so they leverage their competitive resumes and voluntarily quit. This triggers a massive talent vacuum. The company is left with a demoralized workforce that has fewer external options, and management demands that they hit higher quotas while wrangling inadequate AI tools. This animated line graph charts data from a 2024 Gartner report on consumer sentiment. It shows customer satisfaction scores across rapidly automated industries decline by an average of 12 points as users get trapped in endless chatbot loops trying to solve nuanced problems. As satisfaction drops, customer churn spikes. A 12-point drop in Net Promoter Score directly harms the long-term valuations the layoffs were supposed to protect. By month 18, the trap snaps shut. The immediate financial savings secured in month 1 are entirely neutralized by systemic operational failures, declining product quality, and mass customer abandonment. Heading into 2025, the market caught on. Activist investor funds, the same groups that previously demanded rapid automation, pivoted. They confronted boards of directors, demanding to know exactly how much revenue was bleeding out the door due to lost customers following aggressive AI rollouts. The scrutiny quickly escalated to the federal level. The Securities and Exchange Commission began launching formal inquiries into AI washing, targeting companies that deliberately exaggerated their technical capabilities to artificially inflate stock prices. On Capitol Hill, lawmakers aggressively hauled executives in for hearings, demanding they justify the explicit link between record corporate profits and sweeping AI-driven workforce reductions. The consequences of reckless automation have now breached the corporate walls. What began as an internal gamble on efficiency has transformed into severe legal and financial liabilities. We already have data on how to fix this. Studies show the most profitable path forward relies on hybrid teams. AI systems execute the high-volume data processing, while human specialists manage the relationship-critical interactions and nuanced edge cases. The underlying truth of the technology is simple. Artificial intelligence is an incredibly powerful tool for amplifying human capability, but it is not an employee. Executives who approached AI as a binary choice, who gutted their workforce expecting an algorithm to handle the fallout, made a measurable strategic error. They optimized for a spreadsheet and broke their business. The 18-month lag is still ticking for decisions made last year. So here's the question you need to answer. If you held shares in a company that just announced mass AI-driven layoffs, what specific operational metric would you monitor to detect if they are hiding a capability cliff? The long-term winners in this transition won't be the companies that fire the fastest. They will be the ones who use automation to empower their people, rather than burning down their institutional knowledge for a temporary stock bump.